Hey gang, Adam here with GARO, Chapter of the Black Wolf, Episode 5, review vlog. So, we're actually getting into probably an episode that's not really one of my favorites. It's just kind of bland. It has some stuff in it that's interesting. I just don't think some of the plot's really good. But anyway, so the plot in this one is Koga and Gonzo are adjusting to the fact that now Kaoru is going to be living with them. And we also get to see Kaoru interact with Gonza, who kind of explains Koga's backstory of why he's so cold and aloof and kind of mean to Kaoru, as well as getting some of Kaoru's backstory, that of her much like Koga, lost her parents at a very young age, and that's part of why they act the way they are. And while that's all going on, a horror by the name of Lunarken is hunting two men, one a policeman and one a man who has been wrongfully accused of killing his girlfriend and who has taken a girl hostage. Have come into a shooting situation and become the horror's next meal. And it's up to Koga to rescue them without them getting bathed in the blood of a horror, and also before they're devoured by Lunarken when the full moon is at its zenith. Or when it's actually full. That was one of the things I didn't really like about this. Like, for one, they say when the full moon comes at 1:30, despite the fact that's not how the moon's cycles works. At least I don't think it does. Usually the moon is full when it's on the day of the full moon. And the way they frame it, it's clearly that the moon is at its zenith, not at a full moon. That might just be the subs I'm watching on Kiss Asian, but I want to say that's really more the problem. This episode also suffers from a problem I think plagues the show even to this day, that of doing weird artsy openings that almost don't have anything to do with the plot. Particularly the scene where Koga's just walking through like downtown Japan. And I just say that because I don't know the name of the city. And like you hear all these voices talking about like the weird urban myths about like surrounding the city. Particularly stuff regarding horrors and a golden wolf, aka GARO. And it's mostly there to get this poor high school girl who does almost nothing in the plot save for getting captured by the guy that's wrongfully accused. He's a pharmacist. He actually tries to hold her hostage using a syringe full of poison, but it's up for debate whether it really was full of poison, to keep the cop off his back. And yeah, it's really dumb. I feel so sorry for the girl because the plot of... Sorry, something on my computer. The plot really has barely anything to do with them. They're basically just there to be Lunarken's meal. And a thing for Koga to test out these weird sleep tags on that he'll never use again. I remember these sleep tags. They knock people out so that like they don't see him use his armor, and to keep them out of the way, despite the fact that like he never uses them again. I know later Makai Knights will use stuff like that in particularly GARO Season 3, the one who shines light into darkness, or as I'll be calling it, Yami wo Torasu Mono. That's just going to be a tongue twister when I get to that season. But like, it's so artsy because like it uses weird filters. It will have random cuts. Like there's a scene where Koga's chasing after this thing that will guide him to the horror, that of the remaining like soul fragments of this woman who became possessed by Lunarken at the place she wanted to kill herself, because I guess people like to kill themselves there, and the dark energies from these people, which in the show calls Inga, or as the translations usually say, the yin self, basically like dark malevolent emotions given off by humans, will build up and create gates at objects. And I mean, granted, that was kind of neat to see where's I going with this? Oh yeah, like how gates are formed and like how they usually form at places where like a lot of bad stuff has happened. But yeah, like it's really dumb. And the stuff with Kaoru and Koga really isn't really that much interesting. It's basically just stating, oh, Koga's cold and aloof, and Gonza's like, yeah, but he has a reason. And Kaoru, talks about her parents and stuff, but it's all in narration. It's not like she's talking to like Gonza or Koga about her life. That will not come up until probably much later in the show. So it's just kind of like, just reestablishing stuff about these characters while having kind of a fillery episode. Yeah, I didn't really care for it. The horror is kind of bland. There's this weird cut where like the Cerberus trio, aka the Watchdogs, and they're called the Cerberus trio because they're each named Keru, Better, and Rose, which Japanese is Keberus, like Cerberus, which the Watchdogs, and there's three of them, three-headed dog. But yeah, it's okay. I don't really like it because it's kind of bland and it doesn't really do much for the plot. But otherwise, it's not a bad episode. You'll probably like it more than me. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of fillery because the characters being hunted by the horde really don't do much, and it feels a lot of the episodes just Koga walking around or get his interactions with Kaoru and Gonza, and they're not really that interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna cut this one a little short because it's just kind of bland, and I don't really have much to say. Next one, however. Oh, we're gonna have a lot to talk about because it introduces one of my favorite characters to the show, and it will also have a little bit more to talk about. It's a little bit more interesting. Like I said, this one's just kind of there. It's not nearly as interesting as the last episode where we get to see more of Koga and Kaoru interacting in a unique way, and also the fact that there's a lot more action in that episode. This episode really didn't have much, and I think that's kind of where it suffers. It's just a lot of talking and random stuff with these poor people who are being chased by Lunarken. Lunarken's design's not bad. It's actually kind of neat because its real body is this bladed ball thing that it uses as a hunting tool, and it creates an illusion that makes you think it's its body, which is kind of a neat idea, but not. Again, it kind of pales into compare. Sorry. It kind of pales in comparison to like Morax, the giant clock monster that uses clock lures to kill people, or the one in the last episode that like to make give people hope and then dash it so that he can get a more tasty meal. And yeah, so and not only that, it didn't have really much personality since we never really got to see the person that it was possessed by. That it was possessing. So yeah, that's my review, guys, and I will catch you at the next one. Take care.